Hey everyone, welcome back to Kids Church. Today, we're continuing the series we started last week on creativity. That is, imagining what you can do because you are made in the image of God. Now, when we hear the word creativity, we often think about crafty kinds of things, like painting or sculpting or making music. But people can be creative in so many ways, like having the gift of making people laugh or being good at maths. Now, you want to know something I think is pretty creative? Fishing. Yep, you heard me. Fishing. I mean, who do you think the first person was who saw fish in the water and were like, I see you scaly creatures in there. I bet you'd be good to eat. So they came up with the different ways of catching them, like nets or hooks on string and stuff. I mean, how creative is that? Anyway, we'll get back to fishing in just a little bit. But now, let's look at today's verse. Ephesians chapter 2 verse 10 says, For we are God's handiwork, created in Christ Jesus, to do good works which God has prepared in advance for us to do. Amazing, right? We, as humans, are God's best works of art. And not just because we're cool, He made us to do good things, to have a purpose. God made each one of us with our likes and our talents for that purpose. Those good things that He has prepared. So, take Jesus' friend Peter, for example. He was good at fishing. In fact, fishing is what he did for a living before Jesus called him to be a disciple. And even though Jesus ended up calling Peter to teach others about Jesus and build up his church, God still used Peter's fishing to do good things that glorified God. Jesus used Peter and his friends' talent for fishing to show who he was twice. Once at the very beginning of his ministry, around the time he called his disciples, and then again after his resurrection. But there's even a third story where Jesus sent Peter out fishing by himself. One day, when Peter was out around town, some tax collectors came and asked Peter if Jesus was going to pay his temple tax. Peter said, of course he does, and went home. When he got home, even though Jesus hadn't been with him, he knew the conversation Peter had had with the tax collectors. He asked Peter, does a king collect taxes from his own children, or does he collect taxes from others? Peter said, from others. Then a king's children don't have to pay taxes, Jesus told him. But so that we don't offend other people, go to the lake and throw in your fishing line. The first fish you catch will have a 4 drachma coin in its mouth, and you can use that to pay for both your and my taxes. And so Peter did. Now this was huge. Jesus was teaching everyone who would ever read this that firstly, we are children of God the King, and secondly, that makes us His own brothers and sisters, which is amazing by itself, yeah? The other really cool thing about this story is that this is one of those good works that God had prepared for Peter in advance. There are so many ways that Jesus could have taught this wonderful truth to us, but He chose to use Peter and fishing, the thing Peter was good at. Now, the stuff we do won't be recorded down in the Bible, but just like Jesus used Peter's fishing, God uses the things that we're good at every day too. Maybe you're really friendly and love hanging out with people. And you can make someone feel really welcome in a new place they're kind of afraid of. Maybe you're a bit clever with schoolwork and can help someone nearby you who's struggling. Maybe you're good at making something. Is it drawing or music or something like that? And you can share that with other people to brighten their days and point people to Jesus. The thing is, God created you so you can be creative. And so here's something for us to think about as a family. What am I good at? And how can God use that in my life to do good works? Talk about it as a family, and then pray and ask God to show you how to use your talents for those good things He has prepared.